No, thank you for joining us literally on the fly.
Yeah.
We're very, very grateful. Also on the fly, we got a chance to see your film this morning. But,
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
I'll start with a confession, and then Giulia will start with the questions.
Okay.
My confession is that I used to work in Canary Wharf, and I used to be, and my desk was very close to a window.
Yeah.
And so when I started seeing your film, I immediately projected myself on the street, looking up to myself, sort of getting ready to be replaced by AI. So yeah, that was, and look where we are now. Anyway.
But good that you're here.
Yeah, I'm a renegade banker, totally.
Otherwise, you'll be already probably removed by AI.
Yeah, I've been replaced by AI.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Please, Giulia, go ahead.
Thank you for coming to the podcast studio, for running here. Is For Fluctuations premiering here at Civa? Just to know that I got it right.
Yes and no.
I love that. Very quantum.
Yeah.
Wow,
So I did another movie called Three Fluctuations that was presented at the 17 Galleries, a gallery in London, earlier this year. And for this festival, I made a new chapter. So the movie initially had 3 chapters. That's hence the title, Three Fluctuations. But I did a new chapter. So now the movie, instead of 3 fluctuations, is 4 fluctuations. So actually, the first 3 chapters were shown already in 17 Gallery and also in Turkey this summer in Istanbul. So this is what you're gonna see now for the first time is the movie plus the 4 chapters, and actually the name before it was 3 fluctuations. So it's like a new, I guess we can call it a new movie. Yeah.
Chino, can I ask you to keep the mic a little?
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love that we have the movie Third Impact for Fluctuations. It's a good dialogue. We were talking with Anna just before you.
Yeah.
And we asked her how this theme of the festival resonates with her practice. So maybe before talking about the movie itself, I wanted to ask you if this indeterminacy, this frame that is created in this festival talks to you, or feels urgent to you in your...
Yeah, I mean, I guess if there's... Yeah, one of the things that definitely, I guess, defines our current historical time and reality is that how indeterminate everything is and how difficult to pinpoint things because nothing seems to be tangible anymore. So I guess, yeah, it definitely resonates in many levels, but definitely one of them will be that of as we live in this very indeterminate reality, and it's becoming more indeterminate every day. I guess that, yeah, there's definitely a lot of resonances from. Yeah.
And one of the things that comes across through the film is, or at least as I perceived it, was this dance between utopia and dystopia, and this kind of circularity. And there seems to be a build-up to something good that degenerates very quickly, and then there is another build-up, and then it degenerates. And it's interesting that I didn't know that this 4th chapter was added later, and so I'm imagining that maybe you're thinking of a 5th chapter, or I like the possibilities of this not ending, but I'm also wondering what's the if you could tell us a little bit more about this this wave and this dance between utopian and dystopian visions.
Yeah, I mean, from a very, very super basic level, obviously there's an endless cycle of life and death and growth and decay, but also I guess it reflects it has to do a lot. Also, it's connected a lot with this idea of these human projects in which, especially something that's, I guess, has been going on throughout human civilization. But this idea of having this grand idea that is gonna turn the world into an amazing place, and then suddenly, when the ideas are being put in practice, everything collapses. But there's always a moment of growth. Like North Korea had a much higher GDP than South Korea for a while after the Korean War. So it happened in a lot of Soviet and communist projects in Soviet Union, in China, in North Korea. The first 20 years are normally really good when you have this like centralized economies, like normally and then immediately this entropy occurs. So I guess, yeah, it was some elements of that. And I'm from Spain. I grew up in this historical limbo. So when I was born right like a month and a half after the dictatorship ended and before democracy. So I was born already after the failure of this utopian project. And then I was raised during the sort of neoliberal project of this liberal democracy and late capitalism. And then I saw all that also failing. So I guess, yeah, I've been always fascinated by these models of society and how they ultimately explode and collapse. And I guess there's this cycle of everything. There's also these theories that say that after the Big Bang, there'll come the big crunch, and we'll start like condensing again, and then there'll be another Big Bang. So, yeah.
Is there also a critique of the sort of technological infrastructures that are sustaining? Because in a way, I'm trying to look a little bit more about your choice of form, also the way in which you are generating these images, and your choice of using artificial intelligence, of course, but also of sort of using it also as a bug to itself. I'm curious to understand your how are you seeing these visions and these perspectives also in relation to the wider capitalist infrastructure, but also more specifically to the technological infrastructures that you are critiquing?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, to minds, I used to be more of not a technophobe. I mean, I make moving images, and so I've been using technology. The only way I can have for expressing myself, I always had, was technology. But yeah, I was more critical towards technology, and I have to confess that since AI started being incorporated in our lives, and I started using it more and more, I'm now in two minds. So obviously, I guess, as everything else, technology always has this kind of neutral, ethical stance, and I think it depends of who uses it or who controls it, and I guess, yeah, obviously there's in the film, yeah, there's the first chapter has to do with this more like financial tech financial apparatus, then moves into this virtualization of reality and society, then a new form of like AI. The third chapter is about like AI trying to create like an ideal human society without the problems that we had in the past. And then the fourth is an explosion into the unknown, where AI forces or AI entities and human consciousness and knowledge and all forms of life and inanimate objects, they merge into this completely new configuration. So Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, technology is also part of nature because. So I'm not. Yeah, I'm very ambivalent about whether technology is bad or not these days. And that's a new thing. I used to be way more critical. Yeah.
It's interesting these days. These days, you have an increase in. Certainly, you see a growing number of artists using AI in a kind of very speculative way and subversive ways for filmmaking. Rado Jude, I'm thinking about Rado Jude in his latest Dracula film, but also there is an increase in artists using analog filmmaking at the same time, and I think there is a commonality in that. It seems almost like a convergence to make standard digital filmmaking obsolete because it's somewhat the representation of an establishment that both sides are trying to critique. But and maybe that's for a longer conversation. Did you have more questions?
I'd love the fact that we can play with both, a bit like you being in this limbo. Well, when you were born from dictatorship and democracy, but also from technophobic to techno-enthusiast. So this ambivalence, how you called it. And I felt also an ambivalence between the imagining new futures in your film, but also diagnosing, sorry, I don't know if I say it right, the present. So it could be a political interpretation that I'm making. So in that case, I'm not going to interpret, but maybe ask you about the process, how you make your film and what is the seed that makes it spark from where.
So normally it begins with a text.
Okay.
And the text, to be honest, comes less from like me wanting to talk about something, but like a purely almost like stream of consciousness. So I started writing, and each chapter happened almost not accidentally, but I didn't have a plan when I started writing each chapter. I was not like, oh, now I want to talk about this and this and this. It just happened, and I guess it coincided not only with maybe what I was currently reading or thinking about, but also it was a response to whatever was happening in the world. And I guess even though this film has been done over 2 years, the AI technology that has been used, the software that has been used, has been the same, but there's been like new upgrades in each chapter. So you could see even my own practice has evolved so quick. My AI practice has evolved so quickly because we went from having these very sort of basic kind of animation-like images of like 2 years ago. No, 2 years ago, no, less than 2 years ago, like a year and a half ago, I was too sadly achieving these almost photorealist moving images, which I never thought I could be able to do from my living room just a few years ago. And I guess also that has rewired my thinking about reality, but also in this last year and a half, we went through 2 different administrations in the US who had like a massive effect in the world. There's like this major 2 new wars, and also the massive shift in mentality towards geopolitics and what is happening. So I guess everything reflects the movie and this idea of how unstable reality is becoming. And I guess for the last 20 odd years, probably more, but yeah, for the last 20 years, I think we've been living in between the physical and the digital world, and now it feels that we are adding a third reality into the equation, which is this generative reality that still is pretty new and we don't know what is about. So I guess the movie also reflects on those, maybe not only anxieties, but also hopes, and mix of both,
A mix of both. You mentioned your bedroom or your living room. I'm curious to ask you if it's still a collective effort, like you're showing your movie to other people, a bit like in a laboratory, or you have your own process that is a bit solitary.
That's what has changed, because I've been, my main practice, what has been the core of my practice since I started making stuff has been always moving image. Up until now, for most projects, I have at least 20 people working on the project, a lot of times 30, 40. I even had crews of over 100 people. And now I can make stuff without leaving my house. First time ever. So I don't know what to think of that, but it's pretty amazing.
But you go to festivals, so at some point, we're
Are you still
glad.
friends with those people that you used to employ? I'm joking. But no, this is great, and I think we have a few more things to explore, but maybe we'll do them in a longer form. But for now, this was always meant to be a rapid fire intro only. So thank you, and also thank you again for joining us so quickly after you arrived.
Great, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Both of you.
We'll continue.
Yeah, definitely.
See you
Cool.
later.
Thank you, Chino.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Cheers.
much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.